Hello everyone, it's your friendly boy, Jet Black, the one only, here with another exciting video, and in this video we're going to do episode 3 of Water Wizard. If you haven't checked out the first 2 episodes, definitely make sure to head over to the channel and watch our AI Dungeon 2 Water Wizard episode 1 and 2 videos. Without further ado, let's hop right into this. Yo, Water Wizard is about a wizard named Jet, who is an amnesiac wizard. He doesn't remember a lot about the world. He lives in this world where it seems like everybody eats apples for some reason, and almost exclusively apples. He has a water elemental rune tattooed on his left arm. He has it on the bottom of his staff. He has it inscribed in his spellbook, and he has it sewn into his robes. This is a lost rune that was lost after an event called the Great Cataclysm. No one else seems to have this rune or know anything about it really, and it allows Jet to manipulate water. He's like the only hydrokinetic wizard in the world. Also, there were 2 other elemental runes, the air rune and the earth rune, but after the events of the Great Cataclysm, both of those runes still exist. You can find them, but neither of them work anymore. So you can't use air magic and you can't use earth magic using those runes. They're inactive. Fire magic seems to be a beginner-based spell that's easy to do but hard to control. And Jet has essentially written off fire magic as being something not worth pursuing. The Great Cataclysm, by the way, was a war between magical gods who were essentially trying to kill each other off, but because they were all so powerful, they weren't able to. Like, they essentially are too powerful even to the point where they can't even kill each other. But due to their fighting, it caused the water elemental rune to more or less become lost. It caused the air and earth elemental runes to become inert, and it caused these weird phenomenon called chaos storms to be spread across the earth. Well, I don't know if the world's actually called Earth or not, but across the planet. Chaos storms are violent storms of chaotic energy that release when 2 or more deities clash with each other, and they essentially cause destruction and havoc. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all you need to know in order to be caught up with this series. So without further ado, let's hop right in. We just learned what chaos storms were at the end of the last episode. So I'm going to edit the remember command to make sure that chaos storms are inside of the edit command. Okay, so they're all in, in the remember box. I think I accidentally said the edit command. Let me double check. Okay, so I am recording. I wanted to make sure that I didn't do a false start. So let's do this. So I'm going to ask the priest about the gods. I want to learn more about the gods who were fighting during the Great Cataclysm. The priest tells you that there are 4 gods: Tiamat, Dorna, Lolth, and Yag. They all have different views on the world and how things should be run. Each god has their own followers, and followers follow them based on their beliefs rather than loyalty. So it's not that you're loyal to a god, but it's more that you share common beliefs. I don't know, the way that he said it was weird, so I'm gonna say based on their common beliefs rather than their loyalty to said deity. Okay. I'm gonna edit the remember command to add in those gods. Let's see. There are 4 gods. Tiamat. I'm gonna ask him about each of these gods individually. So we got Tiamat, Dorna, Lolth, and Yag. Let's see. Each god has a different view on the world and how the world should be run. And then followers of each god I don't know, that last thing about the followers doesn't matter. Yeah, because you can argue, like, well, if they're not truly loyal, then they can be swayed and da-na-na, but it's whatever, you know. I'm going to ask the priest about Tiamat. I just want to learn more about Tiamat specifically. You ask the priest if he knows anything about Tiamat. He says that she is a goddess of magic and creation. She created the world and everything in it. He then goes on to tell you that her name means the creator. Okay, so Tiamat couldn't beat the other guys, but she literally created everything. Cool. Yeah. Anime logic. Tiamat is a goddess of magic and creation. Tiamat created the world and everything in it. Okay. Ask the priest about Dorna. How's the AI doing? Right now? Great. You ask the priest if he knows anything about Dorna. He says that she's the goddess of nature and healing. She creates life and sustains it. Okay. So that's also pretty powerful. Not gonna lie. Sounds like if Dorna was to die, that all living things would die. So she seems fairly important. I mean, to be honest, if Tiamat created the world and everything in it, Tiamat could still die though, and it wouldn't matter. Like she already finished her job. Everything's already been created. We don't need her anymore. Dorn is needed to create and sustain new life. Like, if anything, out of the couple of gods I've heard about so far, she seems to be the most important. I'm gonna ask the priest about Lolth. See if we can get the juicy scoop. You ask the priest if he knows anything about Lolth. He says that she is a goddess of chaos and evil. She destroys life and existence itself. He then goes on to tell you that her name means the Devourer. Okay. She's an asshole. The first two seem to be good. Are Lolth and Yag going to both be bad? Like, you have the two clearly good gods, and then you have the two, like, why do these gods even exist gods? I imagine, like, I can understand why the good gods would want to defeat the bad gods, like the straight up evil ones. I don't know why they would all fight each other. Seems like some of them would want to work together. Though I guess not really, because I can argue that, like, Tiamat doesn't matter anymore. Dorna is the most important one. Lolth just exists to be an asshole. So yeah. That's my opinion. Ask the priest about Yag. You ask the priest if he knows anything about Yag. He says that he is the god of storms and weather. He controls the winds, rain, snowfall, and lightning strikes. He also controls the elements such as fire, ice, or water. I stuttered a little bit because I suddenly realized that he's like the most relevant to me. Because I am the water wizard. That is my jam. So he's the god over the stuff that I've been doing. And as far as I'm aware, he's the only other person. Well, I mean, he's a god, but he's like the only other being who can do what I do, who can do the water stuff. So, that's cool. Yag doesn't sound like he's bad at all. I mean, they didn't say anything about Yag's alignment. They just said what Yag can do. I mean, technically, Tiamat, Dorna, and Yag, we don't know if they're good or bad at all. But Lolth is just straight up the evil one. I can understand why the Great Cataclysm happened, even if it was just everybody else against Lolth. You know? Ask the priest to summon Yag. I want to meet Yag. The priest asks for your help in summoning Yag. When you do this, the priest disappears from sight and reappears behind you with a small book in his hand. Ask the priest about the book in his hand. You ask the priest what the book contains. He tells you that it is a list of all the elements in existence, their names, their properties, and where they can be found. It also lists every creature which has ever existed or will exist in future time periods. Ask the priest if you can have the book. When you're like, can we summon Yag? And then he's like, hold on, my boy. Here's everything. Here's a book about every element and every creature. That's fucking wild. It says you say yes and take the book back to the temple. You return home feeling better than when you left. You feel like you've been given a second chance at life. You're gonna make sure the second chance lasts forever. I don't like how it replied. I'm gonna retry that one. That was weird. You say yes and he gives you back the book. You read through the book before handing it back to him. He looks at you quizzically and says that there is one more thing he would like to show you. That's almost fine. It's weird that I gave it back. He says yes, and he gives you the book. You read through the book before handing it back to him. I would look at me quizzically too if I handed the book back to him after I read it. But whatever. It's crazy that I can even read a book that has all that information in it. And then hand it back to him so confidently. Like, I'm curious if I retained any of that information. I'm gonna ask the priest about what he would like to show me. He shows you a room filled with candles and incense burning in various shapes. He then begins to chant in an unknown language. A voice comes out of the flames and speaks to you in a strange tongue. It seems that this voice belongs to Yag. Okay, sweet. Ask Yag to train you to become a master of all elements. Yag appears before you and asks you if you want to become a master of all elements. He wants to teach you the secrets of creating powerful spells by using only the elements. You agree and begin training under Yag. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Literally being trained by the god of elements. See, before, when I tried to find like a master of hydrokinesis, I couldn't find a master of hydrokinesis because no one else had access to the water rune. Now I'm the only person with the water rune, so I'm the only person who can do the water stuff. And the only divine being who can do the water manipulation, Yag, is my trainer. Now, I will say, Tiamat could do the water thing if she wanted to, because she can create water at the very least. And Dorna could do the water thing if she wanted to, because she could potentially give life to water and then choose whether that water lives or dies, because she can do that. As a matter of fact, Dorna could probably... Why is it that Dorna can't beat everybody? If Dorna is the one who sustains life, then couldn't she be like, I'm the reason why you're alive, so I just, like, stop keeping you alive? Like, couldn't Dorna just Thanos snap everybody? I don't see how she's not the strongest one. But apparently they're all so powerful they can't kill each other, which is interesting. It makes it seem like the gods live independently of Dorna's will, which is crazy because Dorna's whole thing is that her will controls who lives and who dies. Train to master all the elements under the wise teachings of Yag. You learn the basics of each element. You begin to practice them in front of a mirror. Your teacher teaches you that if you focus on a single element for too long, other elements will take its place. Whoa, what? So, if you, like, try to focus on fire for too long, suddenly you'll be using, like, earth. And if you focus on earth for too long, suddenly you'll be using, like, water. That's actually really interesting. I need to edit the remember command, like right now. So I'm gonna say, Yag is your master. Yag is training you to learn how to master. That is an advertisement. Let me skip this ad real quick. Yag is training you to learn how to master elemental magic. You have learned... Whoa. Something happened and I accidentally, like, opened OBS. It scared me for a second. You have mastered the basics of each type of elemental magic. Let me scroll down. Yeah. Let's see. If you focus on any one element for too long, you will lose... Oh wait, sorry. Other elements will take its place. These last couple episodes have been like all lore. So I'm going to say, train with Yag to learn how to create complex constructs out of each element. Your teacher continues to teach you, and you continue to improve your skills. You begin creating a magical construct out of fire, ice, earth, and air. It looks very complicated, but it works perfectly when used against an enemy. The next day, you see the mirror reflecting back at you. That was an interesting way to phrase it. You see the mirror reflecting back at you. Let's see. Goodness. Train with Yag to obtain complete mastery over all forms of elemental magic. Let's do it. You continue to train with Yag. You gain more knowledge about the elements and their powers. Eventually, you master all aspects of elemental magic. Yag appears before you once again and asks you if you wish to be a true master of all elements. Say yes. You agree to become a true master of all elements. Yag then transports you into another dimension where he shows you what awaits those who do not follow his path. Okay. Bear witness to this alternate dimension. You find yourself transported into a strange world full of creatures that appear similar to orcs. They are small, weak, and easily killed by your new elemental magic attacks. However, they do not know this yet. However, the orcs are unaware of your magical abilities. Ask Yag if I have, ask Yag if you have become a true master of all elements. You ask Yag if you have become a true master of all elements. He says no and tells you that you must prove yourself. He takes out a large crystal ball from his pocket and begins to show you a different part of the plane every time he opens it up. So he can open the crystal ball, and every time he opens up the crystal ball, it shows a different part of this alternate dimension that we're in. Ask Yag what you need to do in order to become a true master of all. Ask Yag what you need to do to prove yourself worthy of becoming a master of all elements. It's interesting that I now have to prove myself. You ask Yag what you need to do to prove yourself worthy of becoming a master of all elements. He says you must defeat him in battle. Yag points at you and shouts, "This orc has proven himself unworthy. I am going to destroy this orc." He points at me and shouts, "Am I an orc? Have I been an orc this entire time? What?" I didn't even know. You are an orc wizard. So I didn't even know I was an orc. So I have to defeat him in a fight in an alternate dimension. Cool. Use ice magic to freeze Yag's lungs. You use ice magic to freeze Yag's lungs. You feel like you can actually kill this creature now. What? Even the gods couldn't kill each other. So the idea that I could kill Yag is insane. The next day, you see that Yag is dead and his body lies on the ground. His eyes are still open, but they stare blankly at nothingness. Shit, I killed Yag. Use Yag's crystal ball to travel back to the priest. You use Yag's crystal ball to travel back to the priest who was teaching you elemental magic. You tell him everything that happened and how you defeated Yag. The priest is amazed by your abilities and asks if you want to join him in his studies of elemental magic. I want to edit it a little bit because the priest wasn't teaching me shit. Who was teaching you about the Great Cataclysm, because that's the main thing that he taught me about, and the gods. So I've already killed one of the 4 gods, and also mastered elemental magic, becoming like the #1 elemental magician in the world. That's a YouTube ad. Let's skip that YouTube ad. Okay, so I need to go here where it's like you have mastered the basics of each type of element of magic, and just say you have mastered elemental magic. You can just say that. You have mastered elemental magic. Yag was your master. Yag was training you to learn how to master elemental magic. Yag was a god of storms and weather. Yag controlled the winds, rain, snowfall, and lightning strikes. Yag also controlled the elements such as fire, ice. I swear that it says or water. Should say and water. Yag was your master. Yag was training you to learn how to master elemental magic. You mastered elemental magic when you killed Yag in a fight in an alternate dimension. You have Yag's crystal ball, which allows you to travel between dimensions. Let's see. You can create complex constructs made out of multiple different elements. I'm gonna get rid of these parts that are like, you don't remember any spells, so you have to use your spellbook to relearn spells. I'm gonna get rid of the part where it's like, you seem to remember some runes. It's like, no, you just... Yeah, I need to like reread over this and change everything that doesn't make any sense. You are Jet, a wizard living in the kingdom of Larion. You are an orc wizard. You have a staff and a spellbook. You finish your long journey and finally arrive at the ruin you've been looking for. Your staff is made of metal. I'm gonna get rid of the you finish your long journey and you find the ruin that you're looking for. Like, it's not relevant anymore. Your staff is made of metal. The title of your spellbook is Spellbook of the Wizard. Your spellbook is ancient and written in Elven script. You can read Elven script. Your staff is very old and is covered in many faded runes. Your staff has one rune that looks completely new that is greenish blue with white swirls in it. This rune is known as the Water Elemental rune. The Water Elemental rune allows you to create water-based constructs. You have the Water Elemental rune tattooed to your left arm. You have the Water Elemental rune sewn into your robes. There are 3 types of elemental runes: water, earth, and air. The water rune was supposedly lost after an event known as the Great Cataclysm. You are the only person who still possesses the water elemental rune. The air and earth elemental runes no longer work after the events of the Great Cataclysm. The Great Cataclysm was a war between the gods that led to the earth and air elemental runes losing their power. The gods fought during the Great Cataclysm for hundreds of years, but were unable to kill each other due to their immense power. The gods fought each other by releasing a terrible force known as the Chaos Storms. There are 4 gods: Tiamat, Dorna, Lorth, and Yag. Each god has a different view on the world and how the world should be run. Tiamat is a goddess of magic and creation. Tiamat created the world and everything in it. Dorna is a goddess of nature and healing. Dorna creates life and sustains it. Lolth is a goddess of chaos and evil. Lolth destroys life and existence itself. Yag was a god of storms and weather. Yag controlled the winds, rain, snowfall, and lightning strikes. Yag also controlled the elements such as fire, ice, and water. Yag was your master. Yag was training you to learn how to master elemental magic. You mastered elemental magic when you killed Yag in a fight in an alternate dimension. You have Yag's crystal ball, which allows you to travel between dimensions. If you focus on any one element for too long, other elements will take its place. You can create complex constructs made out of multiple different elements. The fireball spell requires a fire source, concentration, and a willing target in order to cast. I don't care about how weak the fireball spell is. Like, now I'm a master of magic, so I would rather just say the easiest spell, but also one of the most dangerous. The easiest spell to cast, but also one of the most dangerous, is the fireball spell. The fireball spell can only can only be used on a willing target, making it useless in a fight. I don't need to say Jet. You never use the fireball spell because you recognize it as being inferior to just casting normal fire magic. Let's see. The fireball spell requires that you use an existing source of fire to cast it. You have forgotten why you were, originally journeying to the ancient ruins. Because that's true. You've forgotten why you were originally journeying to the ancient ruins. You don't remember how old you are. Excuse me. You are an amnesiac. I don't want to say you are an amnesiac. Because it's kind of true, but I don't want it to suddenly start being like, and now you don't remember stuff, and now you don't remember, because I already don't remember stuff, but now I'm learning, and I want to keep the knowledge that I've learned. Okay, so the priest was asking me if I wanted to join him in his studies of elemental magic. So I guess that we could, like, study it together. Write down all your knowledge on elemental magic in 2 books. No. In 3 books. Give 1 book to the priest. It's a YouTube ad. Give 1 book to the priest. Give 1 book to the library. Keep 1 book for yourself. You give 1 book to the priest, who's very grateful and thanks you. He gives you another book to keep for yourself. Ask the priest what book. No. Look at the book the priest gave you. You look at the book the priest gave you. It seems to contain all your knowledge on elemental magic. Suddenly you realize something. You've been using your mind to control the book. You can even read what is written inside it. Well, of course I can read. He essentially gave me my own book back. Let me undo. Yeah, because it was dumb that he gave me a book. So go back, edit. I mean, honestly, it's not dumb that he gave me a book. Never mind. It's fine that he gave me a book. Ask the priest if he gave you the book that contains knowledge of all elements and creatures. Because he had that book earlier, and that's the book that I wanted, but then I just quickly read over. He said no. He says, I gave you 2 books containing information on each element and a few creatures that inhabit those elements. One of them contained information on every creature known to exist in the world. So, wait, what? What do you mean he gave me 2 books? Earlier he gave me a book that I gave back to him. It's not like I kept that book. Retry. You got me fucked up. You asked the priest if he gave you the book that contains all information about every element and creature. The priest says yes, but it has been lost somewhere in time. It would be impossible to find since there are no maps of this world anymore. That doesn't make any sense either. Yes, I did give you the book, but the book is lost in time. How'd you give it to me? Then you didn't give it to me. I have a way to make that make sense. The priest says no. Since he last saw you, the book has been lost somewhere in time. It would be impossible to find since there are no maps of this world anymore. Well, it would be impossible to find without the ability to travel through time. That makes more sense. Okay. I'm not gonna worry about the book. The book did seem important, but I'm not particularly interested in it. I need to write down into the remember command. You have written down all your knowledge on elemental magic in 3 books. You gave one to the priest. Oh wait. You gave one of your books on elemental magic to the priest who taught you about the Great Cataclysm. Oh, I spelt it wrong that time. Here we go. You gave one of your books on elemental magic to a library. You kept one of your books on elemental magic for yourself. And then I want to say, the priest who taught you about the Great Cataclysm, how did I spell it a second ago, lost a book that contained knowledge on every element and every creature to ever exist somewhere in time. I don't know a better way to say that. Like, somewhere in time. The book's time displaced. It was more or less a book of all knowledge, almost. Like, he lost probably one of the most important, like, books on elements and creatures ever. I've mastered, like, all elements, so I don't really care about this book of all elements, because I've already mastered them. I don't have, like, creature mastery powers or whatever, so the creature book being gone, whatever. Also, I'm gonna ask the priest their name. Because I keep just calling them the priest. You ask the priest for their name, which they say is Father Thomas. They then explain that there are two other priests who are studying with them at this point. One of the priests is named Brother Lawrence, and the other is Brother Michael. Okay. Don't care about them, but now I can say Father Thomas in each place where I said the priest earlier. I'm trying to see if I brought up the priest at all before, like, just now. Let's see. I'm gonna say to Father Thomas, and then I'm gonna say Father Thomas is the priest who summoned Yag for you. Father Thomas also taught you about the Great Cataclysm, chaos storms, and the gods. I mean, Father Thomas has been like the exposition dumper, so he better have a name. Okay. And then, I'm going to say,
hey everybody.
it is an ad. Okay, let's see. Father Thomas lost a book that contained knowledge on every element and every creature to ever exist. Okay, so I'm going to ask Father Thomas, what is the name? Let me see, the ad is over. Ask Father Thomas, what is the name of the book that contains information on every creature in every element that has ever existed. Because I don't want to just call it that. It needs a name. Father Thomas tells you that the name of the book... Father Thomas tells you that the book is called the Book of Elements. He explains that it was given to him by his mentor, Father Gabriel. He says that when he first received the book, he had difficulty understanding some of his words, but after many years of study, he finally understood everything. Oh shit. Okay, so... there's so much lore here. So I'm gonna say Father Thomas lost... I gotta get that name again. Father Thomas lost the Book of Elements. The Book of Elements contained knowledge on every element and every creature to ever exist. I'm gonna say he lost the Book of Elements somewhere in the time stream. Like it's lost somewhere in like time. And then Father Thomas originally received the Book of Elements from his mentor. Father Thomas's mentor is named Father Gabriel. Let's see. The Book of Elements, I've been doing a capital O. The Book of Elements is a difficult book to understand, but Father Thomas, thanks to years of study, is capable of understanding the Book of Elements. So that's pretty cool. I don't have a lot of time left. Like, it's not that I don't want to keep going. I just know that I have to go to bed soon. Like, in like a few minutes. So I'm gonna do my outro. And this video will probably be up on May 29th, 2020, which is my friend Aiden's birthday. Happy birthday, Aiden! I'm gonna have to send Aiden a birthday message in like 3 minutes. I'm gonna hit him up right at midnight, so this is perfect time for me to end it. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you guys like this video, make sure to smash that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe, and ding ding ding, ring the notification bell to be notified whenever we do these videos. Make sure you check out my video, These Superheroes Do Not Exist, and let me know in the comment section below, what are you thinking of this series so far? Anyways, this is your friend, your boy, Jeff like the one and only, logging out. Peace, guys. Chickadee gow. Yeah. Hey, Aiden, happy birthday, day, wait, hey, yo, I'm pulling, wait, hey, yeah.